at 5:32 p.m. on the 28th of March. I'd like to open this meeting for the Capital Committee. In Mr. Essen's absence as Vice Chair, I will be chairing this meeting. Remind everyone, as all our meetings are in the town, everything is being recorded for prosperous use at a later date. If you could please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Last we met, there were a couple of outstanding requests that we had. One being the DPW, and the second being the school district's capital request. And we wanted to get back with the schools and try and get an understanding of things, because the estimates we were provided were years old, and who knows how accurate they were, etc. We did, I believe, vote $300,000 to go toward the schools. However, the town of Hanson, because this is all for the high school, the town of Hanson is not going to fund any capital items until their town meeting a year from now. So all we would be doing is encumbering those funds that we couldn't spend.
I would object to that.
I would too.
Yeah. So I guess I would entertain a motion to reconsider the vote on these schools.
Motion to reconsider the capital vote taken at last meeting for capital school expenditures.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Of course.
Sure.
I got a question in relation to some of those requests, I believe, were involving E-rate. So I don't know how that could play a role in the situation. Because I believe the district has to purchase the equipment before it's reimbursed.
And there can't be any purchases without the town's expenditures, both towns.
No,
Number one. Number two, I believe Mr. Essen, and you could verify this, has reached out to the schools and asked that very question about E-rate and a real, a more timely cost estimate, etc. And has not heard back at all. We're all copied, I believe, on the emails that when they went out. We haven't heard back a word. So how can we
That's
proceed?
correct, Fred. If I can interject, that is correct. I reached out to them as numerous times, and I think the latest one was Monday of this week, and still haven't got any updated quotes or anything. The only quote we do have is for the fire alarm system, and all in between our portion and Hanson's portion, that project alone is $250,000. I would think that should be an updated quote, but I think the quote we have might be during the pandemic, or I think it was 2021.
Yeah, for a quick point of order, John, do I have a second on the motion?
Because we're discussing it.
Because we're discussing it. Okay, so Justin Evans has seconded the motion for discussion purposes. I'm sorry, now,
sorry, that was my line.
did you have anything more to add? I see Frank with his hand up.
Would you restate the motion?
To reconsider the vote of capital items for the school district.
With that, I'd like to comment.
Yeah.
Given the circumstances surrounding what we've been told about the Hanson intent for capital spending, I would like to emphasize that the vote we've taken for my motion does not include the vote we've taken for Whitman capital expenditures to the Whitman Hanson School District. That is, expenditures spent solely by Whitman. I would like to further, that's the motion. Now I'd like to speak about the motion. I think that Capital Committee's best option here would likely be to place a recommendation to pass over on the town meeting. Let it appear on the warrant. Let our recommendation be to pass over the articles relating to the high school, the district high school, unless that vote will also be taken by Hanson at the night of the meeting. And we should know before we walk in what that circumstance will be. So again, my suggest that our recommendation on the warrant is that it be passed over unless both towns have agreed to fund within this fiscal year, within the FY25 year.
That being said, we have a motion and a second to reconsider the vote,
Right?
and that would be a subsequent action. Is there any more discussion on the reconsideration of the vote? I'll speak. And I went with Mr. Essen to the FinCom meeting, and basically were handed our hat as they were asking for the same documentation we've been asking for. And all we could do is shrug our shoulders and say, we don't have it, and we've not been provided it. I don't think that reconsideration is out of order whatsoever, because we don't. Where's that $300,000 going? What's it being spent on? We know it's a district-wide expense. It is not for the expense of a Whitman school in its entirety, and it is dependent upon the town of Hanson. With that, any more discussion?
Sure.
Mr. Evans?
So just the lack of backup, the lateness of submitting all this is not in agreement with our committees. It's our actual charge in the bylaws, but the instructions we provided to all the committees. I think the bylaws actually have a submission date.
I think it's October.
Town meeting warrant authorized it as a submission date. Yeah. So the schools have missed every one of those. I am a little hesitant to. I like Frank's idea of leaving it on the warrant. In the past, we've voted. We've phrased questions that caveat this must also pass in Hanson. We could do that with a timeline if we wanted something a little more open-ended, but that wouldn't come with the money for at least 6 or 8 months until Hanson's fall town meeting.
In discussion, I know that Dawn had with the Capitol folks in Hanson. I reached out to 1 or 2 people that I know over there in official capacities. They're not prepared to spend any capital dollars until FY26. So we're looking at a year from now, it being on their warrant or their town meeting. Josh?
Yeah, I mean, it's just odd to me that, again, because when you apply for the E-rate, it requires quotes. So they have to have quotes in order to apply the E-rate. So I just don't know.
But we don't even know if they've applied for them.
The prices seem to indicate that they've applied for them.
True.
Based on Josh's knowledge, but it's not. We haven't been told that.
True.
And we've asked for that. We've got nowhere. Ms. Otina?
And I just want to add that I did attend the capital committee, the school's capital committee, whatever it's called, capital operations.
Facilities and or whatever, yeah. It's had so many different names.
And I know that there was a significant discussion about the E-rate, applying for the E-rate, that the deadline, I believe, was November, I'm looking at my own email, November 20th. They were accepting E-rate bids until Monday, November 20th. So there was a significant amount of time discussed about applying for E-rates, but not getting anything from the schools in a timely fashion ties our hands. So I agree with everything that's been said by the other members of this committee that it doesn't make sense to approve this if we're waiting on Hanson, who's not going to approve it, and we've asked for additional quotes and we don't have the backup.
No, not even additional quotes, it's the backup.
Yep, correct.
That's the one you can. Okay. Any further discussion? Mary Beth?
So this would be all articles, including the one for the Whitman schools, or not?
No,
Right, okay, all except the one
we're
for...
reconsidering our vote. And we're going to vote to reconsider, and then we're going to take action to bifurcate our vote to reflect what we are recommending and what we're recommending
Perfect.
be passed over.
Yep, because I'm just putting notes on the
What
warrant.
do we have on there from Whitman? For the Whitman schools? I didn't think there was.
I thought we had
37408, to see if the town will vote to appropriate to purchase and install a wireless system and wireless access point replacements at the Duval Elementary School, Conley Elementary School, Whitman Middle.
Once again, we don't have backup.
Right.
Josh?
But that we can act on so long as the deficiency is cured. But it may be
Right.
time to draw a line in the sand and say in the future, if it isn't in time for the warrant, it is going to be on the
Well,
warrant.
no, the timeline for this committee.
But you also have to be careful that the school committee has a right to present articles and requests to town meeting. So we can't summarily, if a department submits an article and the selectmen say, no, we're not
Yeah.
going to do that, they can strike it. We can't do that with the schools.
Right.
Chapter 71 gives them the right to petition the town.
True. Josh?
Frank, but we don't have details on the
I agree.
wireless, so I don't know how we could move forward with something, because in general, the most likely condition is that wireless control that's controlling all this wireless resides at the high school.
I agree.
So, I don't know.
Was that the only thing?
No, I did. There was one other for 10,622 for the uninterruptible power source unit at the Duval, the Conley, and the Whitman Middle.
Oh, yeah, so the UPS is localized to those buildings. So
Yeah.
those,
So Josh raises a good point. The action on the network is entirely dependent on whether the core facility at the high school gets upgraded, which is a district facility.
it's just hard to
So
understand.
it may be that the only thing we're going to recommend to move on formally in the warrant is the UPS, and the others will be held back
Which,
by a recommendation to pass over that can be either withdrawn or acted on at town meeting.
and I think that, if we take it, how do I say it? Take things one sip at a time. This is the way my mind's working, is we reconsider or rescind that other vote. Now,
And then we'll vote separately on
separately on
correct.
the two Whitman
Yes.
projects.
and the cap
And
and
the
the Whitman
district
Hanson
project.
cap. Yes.
And it'll be to recommend or not recommend, and then go from there.
Okay.
So, any further discussion on rescinding or reconsidering?
We won't talk about Robert's rules that says a motion to reconsider is non-debatable, so.
Correct. We're not debating, we're discussing. So seeing that there's no further discussion, roll call vote
Start with the guy on the phone.
Don,
Okay, so a vote yes, just for clarification, a vote yes would mean that we're going to rescind it except for the two Whitman articles.
No, we're
correct?
going
no,
to
we're gonna
reconsider.
vote those, everything separately.
We reconsider and everything's back on the table, Don.
Okay, so my vote is yes.
Okay, Mary Beth,
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
and
That's it.
Don was a yes, so that's unanimous.
Okay, now I'd like to make a motion to recommend,
Yes, the first one.
where's the other one? Recommend approval for $58,722.95 to purchase a cooled, no, that's the high school, scratch that.
Yeah.
You want just the two schools?
I just want the two Whitman,
Okay.
so I started to read it. Okay, here we go,
Right there, these
develop.
two.
Recommend Article 31
That might change, but
for, what's it called? Okay, recommend $37,408 for the purchase and no, you can't do that either.
so this is the only one.
Yeah,
Whitman Hanson Regional.
We're gonna get it
School
right.
District, you have computers and a phone system
yeah,
upgrade.
but the wireless system is all fed from the high school, so if that's not done, we can't install it.
Right, but I don't even see that on the request spreadsheet, never mind in a formal capital
All
request.
right, so for the third attempt to make a recommendation, I am recommending that the committee vote to recommend $10,622 to purchase and install UPS equipment at the Duval Elementary, Conley Elementary, and Whitman Middle School.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you.
So we have a motion by Frank and a second by Kathleen. Discussion, Todd has his hand up.
So do we have quotes for that?
No?
So that's where I'm confused. Like, I don't understand. There's a double standard here. Like, why are we providing, I mean, I'm busting my hump getting quotes for all my capital. And we're just voting, so do I not have to bring quotes anymore? Is that is that the precedent we're
I
setting?
wouldn't suggest you try that.
You're the
No,
wrong.
that's, but I'm asking the obvious question that's in the room.
The problem with this is when you're dealing with a regional entity, we have less control over the process. We have a school administration and we have a school committee. The school administration seems unwilling to make any recommendations that haven't been acted on by the school committee, at least as it appears to me. And there seems to be so much
So are we just gonna,
confusion. We only have one shot at putting something on the warrant.
Right.
Once it's published, it's over.
Yeah.
So we can withhold our recommendation and make them on the floor.
so again, here's the obvious question. And so we've been waiting since November. Or October, we were supposed to. So instead of wasting our time having Dawn send 7 emails, phone calls, whatever, why don't we just say no more quotes from the schools and we can just move forward all the time? And we wouldn't be having,
Because
because we could have had this meeting, our last meeting, we wouldn't need to be here.
because the schools as a region and how they operate under the mass laws, I guess, was
Yep.
it Chapter 71, Frank?
Yep.
Has the right to place that ballot question or that question onto the warrant. Now, when you
I
close
think
the warrant,
Todd's fine point is
I think
it's
that's,
certainly going to be on the warrant. Should we be endorsing it before we have what we need? I think that's the bottom line
is,
yeah.
question.
So we
And-
can
And you're right, Todd.
We can just have a recommendation to come on the floor.
Yes.
That's all.
I will withdraw my motion.
So we're not gonna pass over town meeting on this one.
All right. So I guess we would entertain a new motion to either recommend or not recommend.
All right, I'll make it easy. A motion to withhold recommendation on school-related articles for capital until the floor of town meeting.
Can I make some Whitman school articles?
No, all articles.
All articles.
Treat them all the same.
This will give us opportunity for,
We already know what our position is on the Whitman equipment, but Todd raises an excellent point that we've asked for backup and haven't been given it.
Right.
So I think the message we're sending is we're not making any recommendation on any capital article that we don't have backup for unless it's on the floor of town meeting.
Yeah.
And I would go further to say, to revisit this issue with the Board of Selectmen in the fall, with the direction that if information is submitted and is not submitted in a timely fashion for action by the committee, it will not appear on the warrant.
I mean, FinCom could do their job. Josh?
yeah, and I think I want to make it clear too that we're not trying to micromanage the schools. So at this point, again, trying to obtain the backup to understand and make sure we have good financial sense going on here in relation to any purchases in capital going forward. I just think it makes sense to at least identify all these capital expenses properly and make sure that, again, we're taking advantage of E-rate like, they are for the various things that they are and stuff like that. I don't want them to feel that we're trying to, take things over. But again, it's hard to make recommendations when you don't have, a picture of what's going on. So
Yeah. How can you recommend if, never mind assessing the dollars, you haven't been given proper verbiage or discussion about the need? Geez, the UPS needs to be replaced. Okay, is it past end of life? How old is it?
Speaking as someone whose battery died yesterday, it's a good thing to keep current.
Yes. I keep mine. I have bunches of them in different areas.
I just ordered a battery.
Well, Frank's motion needs a second, so I will provide the second.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion on all recommendations being done on town hall floor if they make it to the warrant? Mary Beth.
So the way I see it now, we'll leave all these articles on here, and we will put proposed by the district capital committee, voted to make recommendation on town floor. Is that what you'd like to do?
I would like to say due to lack of supporting documentation,
Yeah.
capital committee will not make a recommendation. Capital committee will make a recommendation on the floor of town meeting.
Okay.
Due to lack of required documentation, the capital committee will withhold recommendation and what's the right word? Will withhold its recommendation until the floor of town meeting.
And it could very well be that between the FinCom and the Board of Selectmen, they decide the capital couldn't do their job. We're not even putting it on the warrant.
Oh, that's a separate issue.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Jeff?
yeah, and then the final piece, I guess, was in relation to other departments that did have requests that were removed due to funding. How is that all? Are we taking that into consideration, and the fact that we didn't have the money, or we felt that other capital items, for instance, for the schools, if there's money freed up there, due to changes or at least decision making at town meeting, how does that affect? I mean, is there ability to include capital items that were sidelined due to the.
Okay, the answer to that, Mary Beth, are those articles still going to appear on the warrant for the vehicles that we said we wouldn't support?
So in the past, or last year, when I was here, when an article was being purchased or not purchased, either with ARPA or waiting a year, we just didn't put it on the warrant. So you tell me, I mean, I was only going to put on the warrant what we had money for to move forward with. However, we will be treating things differently if we do this
Yeah, we're
one
really
way.
going to send a mixed
We are,
message.
and it's going to be a mess on the floor because it's going to be like, well, that's 300,000. Which one are we going to do? You know, we're going to be right down looking like fools, I think, at the last minute.
We'll want to discuss funding source for the school articles. Maybe leaving it blank.
We'll see.
So if Hanson decides they can come up with the money between now and then, and we want to pay our part, we can fund it from capital stabilization. Because we don't necessarily want to tie up free cash.
And if we don't do the school articles, that's about the money that the DPW wanted for the STIP.
That's what I mean.
Right.
And that wasn't being.
I have that.
You do have it in there?
I just have it in there until, because I didn't think this was our final meeting. I think I do have the vehicle. I know I have the vehicle for the building department. I don't know if that one will end up, going forward. So I don't know and I wasn't here last meeting, so I know what, I did get the sheet with the final things, but I think that especially now with the budget changing, needing free cash to close the budget, not knowing how much we're going to need depending on what the school does for a compromise, if any, or
There's so many unknowns.
right.
So many.
But do I include all or just the ones that the capital committee? Like I said, in the past, we took a cruiser for ARPA, we just didn't include it. Or fire truck wasn't considered the secondary car last year. He had asked for it, but we didn't even put it on the warrant. So,
The selectmen control what articles go on the warrant.
Right.
So, if that becomes an issue, we can discuss it there.
And perhaps the selectmen want the capital committee and the chair from the capital, to appear before them.
Maybe you have meetings to discuss that.
it's getting down to there. It's getting down to the wire.
Yeah, it would have to be the 9th. Right?
Right, we have the 9th, and then the 23rd, we're right where we were last year,
Yeah.
running to the printer, hoping we get it posted in time. I hate doing things like that.
The 9th, I know I'm definitively not
Well,
available.
the good news, even on the 23rd, you still have time.
Oh,
'cause
believe me,
It's
I'm
only
telling
7 days before the meeting.
Then I have to print it and get it back.
Friday
And,
voting in.
You drop it Thursday, they deliver it Monday morning.
I'd like a little more time.
Can't get worked up over it. The real time you need to spend is before it goes
Oh,
to the
so I
copier.
know.
I wonder if we could rephrase that motion, to stipulate that.
No pride of ownership here.
Huh?
No pride of authorship here. Go ahead.
That the recommendations will be made on the floor. However, we understand that the Board of Selectmen do reserve the right to not have this appear on the warrant at all.
I don't think we want that.
No, I don't. I think that's an area
No.
we probably want to stay away
Might
from.
be a conversation starter.
And I believe, going back, if either of you were the TA at the time, I think town council and school council disagreed over that for school capital articles. Because the
Right.
original agreement's 30 years old and kind of funny. So,
But I think under Chapter 71, because I had this fight way back. As a regional school district, you have the right to place.
I conceded that the schools have a right to ask. That came up a couple times, but most recently a few years ago, because we struck an article. I talked with the chairman of the school committee, I talked with the superintendent, and after looking at it all, I agreed that I was perhaps a little hasty in deleting it, that they certainly had a right to ask for it.
Yeah.
And the only way they can ask for it is on the warrant.
Okay, so that's a non-issue.
So I would stay away from that completely. Well, I would not have a problem getting up at town meeting and saying, look, as Todd said a few minutes ago, we have a requirement
I believe it's in the bylaw.
that
Yeah,
These-
the date is in the Bible.
we have a requirement. The capital committee has a requirement that documentation be submitted in time for us to make the recommendation to the Board of Selectmen. And our position is if you're not willing to submit that information, we're recommending no action on the article. And I mean, that's incendiary language when you get up at town meeting, because there are people who are going to say, hey, wait a minute. And there are others going to say, you're right. Why do we have two classes of people here? Well said, Todd.
I think we should just keep it very simple. Capital committee voted to make recommendation on town floor, period. Not due to lack of,
And if we get more information,
we can explain that.
Yeah.
Okay.
like that.
So you don't want to dope slap them, huh?
No.
Probably gonna get enough to have one more.
That's true.
All right, so are we rescinding the original motion and then going back to a simple, the capital committee will make recommendations on the floor?
Yes. I forget rescind. The motions are done based on recent a motion to based on recent information from Hanson to delay all capital recommendations which will be made on the floor of town meeting. Then everyone's in the same boat.
Can
All
I just
capital?
say, well, can I
Well-
just say, all regional requests,
All district requests for regional funding.
Yeah.
For regional improvements.
Yeah.
No, you have to be more specific.
Yeah.
Let's try this again. Okay. Motion to recommend, but then again, we have to get specific because the updates to the network can't be done.
Let's take no action until the school gives us more information. Why even?
Yeah.
Right.
We'll place the articles. It'll say capital committee.
Yeah.
Okay.
due to lack of, but I would even say due to lack of, information. Because we don't have enough information to really make that decision. Even the UPC,
Well, if you want to do it simply, lacking information will make recommendation on town floor.
Yeah.
Town meeting floor. Insufficient information sounds better.
Okay, so we have a motion to
Should
make recommendations on town hall floor due to lack of proper information,
Insufficient information.
insufficient information. Do I have a second?
I already did, but I'll do it again.
All righty.
We're talking about temporary.
Any more discussion?
Move the vote.
All right. Mr. Rusin,
Yes.
Good job.
Mary Beth,
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
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 Yes,
All right, unanimous. So that's number one. Those are the school stuff. Now let's discuss real quick the step. And Justin, you sent something.
So I forwarded.
Bruce wrote an email.
If you all saw Bruce's email, where he referenced the presentation made to the selectmen, I forwarded that presentation. It was from October of 2022. I just forwarded it in this meeting
So,
to your Gmail, I think.
and once again, are we considering, dollars and cents availability, which we've been doing? Do we have the funds either in capital stabilization, to fund this?
We have the funds in capital stabilization. Depending on the operating budget situation, we may have it in free cash. I would say, though, that I don't know that we have sufficient information on this either. So we have a presentation from a year and a half ago, and an email from Bruce that gives the same information we got a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
I'm curious about the $200,000 in engineering costs we appropriated last year. And are we still on track for the STIP program, which runs like 5-year cycles? And I don't know, likelihood of us getting in because it's a competitive grant. So I still have a lot of questions on this, and I know the assistant town administrator and myself are working on a potential grant to pay for some of the design work on this. But that we won't know that until June, so it's not going to help us here. But we also cannot get that information from the DPW to support the grant writing process.
So I would say the same motion, as the schools, but limiting it to this one item.
Right.
To apply for the STEP, the State Transportation Improvement Projects Grant.
Okay, let me just bring that up, if I may. Let's see. Okay, 316,900. That was that article. Okay, and what would you like for that comment?
Well, whatever the committee so desires, but I would think a motion for us to make a recommendation on town hall floor due to lack of or insufficient
Same line.
information at
Yeah,
this
same
time.
one.
Yep.
Everyone should be sending us back out, not just the schools.
Right.
Insufficient information will make recommendation on town meeting floor.
Well, that's not what I have. I have capital committee voted to recommend on town floor due to insufficient information.
Oh, we didn't vote.
We'll make.
Recommendation, not to recommend.
Insufficient information, capital committee will make recommendation on town meeting floor. We have to be nice to all of them.
So is that a motion, Frank?
Do we need a motion? Do we need to vote that? I suppose. Okay, motion to place comment on warrant insufficient information. Committee will make recommendation on floor of town meeting.
Second.
Okay, so Justin with the second, Frank with the motion. Any further discussion?
Just that the FinCom is also going to be making a recommendation based on the capital committee's recommendations, so it's going to be.
Oh.
Yeah, and if we shrug our shoulders and say,
Yeah, I get
we
it,
can't, then
I get it.
FinCom will,
But we're meeting next Tuesday, so when I report next Tuesday on tonight's actions, I'll say, here's where we are.
I mean, I have to believe the committee will agree that that's the appropriate course to take.
so, any further discussion? And then I would have a question from Mr. Essen, but after our vote, so to speak. Mr. Essen,
Yes.
Good job.
Mary Beth,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, unanimous. I don't know if you'd like to reach out to Bruce Martin with a phone call, John?
I can, yep.
Just tell him we can't make a recommendation without this. And, while our, committee decided to recommend on town hall floor, love to have that information that we can pass over to the FinCom as well, because they are requesting it, not just us.
Be sure to use the word withholding recommendation.
He'll enjoy that word.
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay.
Blame it all on Justin.
It's a $15 million project.
I
Town's
agree.
gonna put up 1.5
We
million.
haven't heard
We just need
anything.
some information.
I was sitting in Mary Beth's chair when that was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't, Mary Beth, go ahead.
I don't want to interrupt. I just wanted to kind of give you an update where I am right now today with articles. Our free cash was $1,378,756. With the articles I have for the P articles for this year and the other articles that I've received, it looks like we have used $1,226,107.55, leaving a balance of $152,648.45. I did include in this list just what I have for a deficit right now in the budget, which is $164,053. But I mean, that's changing all the time, and
Yep.
You can change a town meeting.
right.
And for capital, we can use capital stabilization as a funding source.
I have that balance. Yes, $681,142.16. There's also technology stabilization fund on the books still.
No, not
I don't think there's any money in it.
There is. Well, there is according to the trial balance. $205,800. That's what I said.
Just seems electric.
How much money?
Where's that?
$205,800.95.
That's got to be wrong.
That's what I thought.
It's got to be wrong.
That's accurate then. That's great.
We would have resolved that fund.
It's like dollar signs out of your eyes, right?
Yeah, that's great. Then we'll give me transferring some money.
Yeah. Just get it out now.
I thought we combined capital stabilization, technology, and school stabilization several years.
This was during the transition. I think what probably happened is when we had the interim accountant, he was not making ledger line updates to the GL, both Chris and,
You go back to Chris?
yes,
Oh my goodness.
because I think that's when that happened.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was closed out on the treasurer side. But I just happened to be going through tonight and I'm like, why is there money showing here?
Below a trial balance for June 30th, 21 and June 30th, 22.
Okay, I can do that right now.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
If money is better than no money.
So some
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah, we could use some money right here.
I know we didn't fund
I know we did. I requested so many times over the years, and
Technology.
technology stabilization.
yeah,
And I know we spent what was in there on the core switch.
a long time ago.
Well, that doesn't give me a warm and fuzzy feeling about
No,
our
me
numbers.
neither. Me neither. You want it through June 23 or 20?
A trial balance for June 30th, 22, 21, and June 30th, 22.
All right, so here's June. Let's see, it's under, there we go. Oh, fives.
Page down.
Right here. Maybe.
No, you can't do that because it's displayed.
It takes forever.
I know. So I always print it to disk and then I can flip through it and
Oh.
search it.
Is this required or not?
Let's see.
No.
Well, it's not required, but it would.
Okay, where are we here?
Page are you on there?
I'm
Find.
on page 7.
All right, so go to,
In the interim, did everyone receive a copy of the minutes that Erica had sent out and was able to read them?
go to page
I
7.
know Frank did.
That's,
Oh, okay, I'm on that.
There was an amendment too, wasn't there?
Right.
Could it run to my Gmail?
Let's see.
Maybe after that, just go now. Whatever you use is what I used.
Would it have come from you, Eric?
Yes, that was Eric.
And it's GMAT.
Stabilization.
I use GMAT too.
All right, on June 30th, 22, the regional, no, where is it? Technology Stabilization Fund was zeroed out.
So,
And capital's
92742
and regional.
was transferred to capital, and it was zeroed out. So now let's do 23,
This is not big.
how much was it?
$927, which sounds right. That's what I remember being a small
And
number.
that's what I remember on my side transferring, but,
Okay, go.
let's see, let me see, nope, 22 to 23 here.
I shouldn't have grown.
All the
You
interest.
don't know how many times I've done this over the years.
I bet.
Rates are great these days.
But this bothered me when I saw that. I'm like, what? There's just three of here?
Yeah, I wasn't here last
All
week,
right,
so
so go to page 7 again, page 8.
I did read this.
Let's see what it was.
Go up on. Stabilization. Wow, why is that? What's the ledger number you're on?
Correction.
No, on your right,
There.
on your left,
Okay,
0735.
If you could send those, and we'll not even bother because they're not on the.
Capital, just cap.
Right. Yeah.
It's just capital.
Yeah.
stabilization.
Someone recreated that account because in 23, the account wasn't even in the ledger.
Okay.
Recreate. Who would recreate?
All right, so you get a bigger chore in
You
your
have
hands
no
now.
idea what things I'm dealing with here.
So that would have been after Ken.
Or, no, Ken, I have no idea. I'm not blaming anyone.
I'm trying to think of the time frame who would have
Ken was there until November
of 23.
3.
Yeah, and then Karen came, right?
But she got it.
So somewhere between July 1st of 23 and today, something was done.
3 accountants in that office in that time.
I know, that's what
And
I'm
don't
thinking.
forget, we had Eric Kinshirf, too.
And Eric was 4.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Eric,
Okay.
so for the minutes, the grant in the DPW should be 12 to 14 million, not 12 to 14
I
thousand.
thought,
That's it.
that's what I thought.
Million here, million there, pretty soon you're talking money.
Oh, do we want to?
Wasn't that ever Dirkson's famed speech?
We can just pass over this and vote on the next meeting,
Would you mind sending them to me?
so to speak.
The amended minutes?
As far as
Yeah,
that
that's
goes.
also. When are we meeting again, and how often will we meet now before town meeting? Because these
Mr. Rusin,
change.
Yeah, I had
Yes.
sent that out. already.
when do you anticipate meeting again?
What's that?
No.
Let me pull up my calendar. Hold on.
Kathleen, did you get the original one?
I did, but I can't find it. It's been a hectic day.
When is town meeting?
May 6th.
So, sometime third week in April. Would that be good for everybody?
Probably be better second week because Mary Beth is gonna need time to incorporate whatever we change into the warrant.
April 11th?
That would be
That's a
good.
Thursday. April 11th at 5:30, Dawn?
April 11th at 5:30?
That works for me.
That works.
for me.
Okay,
Yep.
great.
99% sure I will not be here,
Is that?
April 11th.
Can somebody send out a meeting invite for that?
For the 11th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put me on it, because what I may do is call in. Todd?
I want to talk about something that's not.
I guess I don't know if I can ask Mary or whoever if somebody can, I guess, memorialize some of the comments that were made today. Just so it was coming in broken up most of the time for me. I mean, I caught the gist of everything, but I don't want to,
He wants to read.
push this along without accurate data.
Okay, well, Erica has taken notes and it's recorded, so
Okay.
we can get Some good notes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Notes as opposed to minutes.
Minutes.
All right.
Now, we're gonna vote the minutes that Erica sent out?
We're gonna just,
one typo.
they're not on the agenda.
Okay, all right.
And where there's another change to happen, then I think it's easier to just pass over it. Or to not go.
I agree.
So now, Dawn, you have 2 sets of minutes that need to be voted.
That's fine.
And Todd had something,
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up a couple things. I made my phone calls last week to check on all my quotes because some of them were in August, some of them were in September, some were in December. The condenser replacement for the lower town hall.
It's in the water in Baltimore, right?
Yeah, for the lower town hall data server room. Mitsubishi has gone up. I got a phone call. Mitsubishi's gone up 10%, but I think I got enough there to cover that. It's an extra $400. I did on the pool project, which is for $20,000. I called Portland Door to just get an update to make sure the quotes were good, and they did go up around $450 on the steel curtain door that's existing there now. So I'd like to add 1,000 to that, so make it 21,000 if I could do that for the pool project to cover me for anything else, plumbing, electrical, whatever. And I think we should be fine with that. Other than that, I'm good. So I don't want to do the project to be 94% and leave something out. You know?
Well, just turn Bruce upside down and shake the money out of his pocket.
So, and I'll send that updated quote to Don, and then he can just,
yeah,
so
you guys,
for full transparency or whatever, so
Yeah.
we can see it.
It's on the warrant article right now, is it not?
It's one article.
It's one article, and we
with
just
3
have
items.
to update that amount.
Let me just take a quick look and see what.
I should have it here.
we did vote it, so. To recommend.
And I don't know if in the future,
Right here.
I mean, on my end, and maybe this would help the schools out too, as well as Josh. You know, maybe if we could give a rough cost early, and then an actual estimate, say February or
We'll have to
March.
vote that though.
Yeah.
Because I think this is easier because when you're reaching out and you calling the vendors and they're busy and then they got to take their time to
More than
revisit it.
reasonable.
Yeah,
Okay, especially where we can't spend the money until July 1st.
exactly. Yeah,
Okay, however,
Ground condenser pool
it
house.
gives us an idea.
an idea.
Okay, and allows the town's administration to have an idea of what's being spent and where the money's coming from and what the needs are.
So that should be 22,000, right?
And
No,
I
I
have
just
one
moved
other
it from
comment
20 to
about
21.
this committee.
27.
As I said at the Finance Committee meeting the other night, the Capital Committee plays a crucial role in advising the town on what the needs are and what it's going to cost. And you're probably lucky I wasn't able to make the last meeting because I was in such a mood that if a request came from a department that isn't currently working on its 5-year plan, I was ready to say no. We've been asking you nicely, department heads, to please give us a 5-year plan. If you're not willing to work with us, then my vote is no. So there's the carrot, there's the stick. We have the money, you need to help us out. As you said, Todd, I'm fine with the quotes not being accurate. It has to be in the ballpark.
Right.
With the caveat, it will be updated. But if you're just asking us for stuff and you're not working with us when we say we need a 5-year plan, the FinCom has been looking for a 5-year plan for the 5 years I've been on the committee. There's no 5-year plan. Then going forward, this is my position. I'm not going to support your request if you aren't actively working on a 5-year plan. And Todd, you've already worked on your 5-year plan.
And our previous 5-year plan was the Collins, Collins capital assessment for fiscal 20 to fiscal 25. So it's now we're the course.
Todd, you wanted to raise the 21 to 22, is that?
I got it. I had it in at 20, I believe, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you had it at 20. I
Yeah,
put it
20,
up
I want
to
to go to
21.
21.
And
That's the only one?
1,000's gonna be enough.
I think 1,000 will be enough. Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to reconsider our vote on Article 20. Can't see with or without him. For $81,000.
Okay, so we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
And we're reconsidering the amount.
Well, we're reconsidering the article, and then we will.
So, Don?
Yes, I'm fine with that.
Yes.
Yes.
Question?
No, you have to say yes.
Sorry, reconsidering your article.
Yes.
Josh?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm
Okay,
confused.
unanimous
Currently,
discussion.
Todd has a question.
Todd?
I'm confused. We're reconsidering the 81,000. And
Right.
then there'll be a motion to 82,000, correct?
Yes.
Perhaps. Okay, motion to recommend Article 20 for $82,000, increasing the pool house pump room line from 20 to 21,000.
Second.
Motion and a second. Does that encompass the garage door as well, or is that a separate one?
The two.
Yes, that's what it
Full
is.
house, yeah.
Yeah, it's all together.
Yeah, the Whitman board has told you.
Yeah.
the price.
That encompasses the door as
Yes.
well. Mary Beth, you had a question?
Just the article numbers may change, I'm not,
Well, at this
Done.
point,
it's Article
The
20
dollar
at the
amount
moment, the
will-
dollar amount, that was
I terminate.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, Don?
Yes.
Mary Beth?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Todd?
Yes.
Josh?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Okay.
All right, so, that being done, did anyone have any, because we do have a line here, any other discussion or business to bring forward to the Capital Committee at this moment?
Probably not an appropriate line for an open meeting, but since it wouldn't be on the agenda.
Mary Beth?
Just the Chapter 90 money, and I know that was just mentioned and shared around to the whole committee, but the amount that I received for fiscal 25 is $323,087.67. So just clarifying the amount that we have.
I think the spirit of the vote of the committee as it relates to any projects that are funded by Chapter 90 is it's what the state intended for the money to be. And
Right.
we're just following state guidelines. I think that's the way I put it in the email.
Yep. Good.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
To make it.
Okay. Don?
Yes.
Mary Beth?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Todd?
Yes.
Josh?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
It's unanimous. Everyone wants to go home at
Yes.
6:29 PM.
Nice.